Tour de Hungary was the race to watch today. Egan Bernal and Ineos being really aggressive with over an hour to go before a steep uphill finish. Mark Hirschi back in business. Bit cool conditions, a little bit of wind, but nothing too major. There's two local laps on a medium mountain circuit. Really nice design actually, with like a 2.7k 8% finish, although there was a little descent part of it that you couldn't really tell from the profile. It was one for the GC guys at this race, like Hirschi and Co., but Alpecin put two in the break with De Bont and Dillier, DSM chasing for Onley and Poole. Dillier was coming back with Schoenberger, I think, to that group after some of the longer climbs. Viviani controlling for Tullett, Narvaez, and Bernal. They're GC men here, as well as UAE for Finn Fisher Black and Mark Hirschi. So riders trying to come back into shape like Bernal, Fuglsang and Hirschi, and young riders like Tullett and Poole and only trying to prove something. Breakaway with 65k's to go gets put on a pretty short leash there, 123 in front of the peloton. Bora pacing for Fabro, trying to keep him safe. And on these climbs, they're quite steep in sections, narrow. Bernal kicks it off with 49k's to go. Tudor on him. I think Voisin was their man for GC here, the Swiss team. And Eganito unfortunately had that crash on the first sprint stage, and this is kind of a sacrificial move. Whether that was always the plan or whether he said, hey, I'll just sacrifice myself for the guys behind because I'm a bit banged up now, I don't know, but I love to see it. A lot more aggressive, the racing here from Ineos and the other guys and DSM and co. than the catastrophe at the Giro today. Narvaez moves, and Finn Fisher Black, who'd been marking Bernal, goes with this move with Onley. And Onley, we know, is dangerous. He's probably better than Jonas Vingegaard, as we saw in Crow Race. Three strong teams represented, UAE, DSM, Ineos, with guys who are very good. Finn Fisher Black was really strong in Sicily. So these are guys who could keep GC, and so it's a big problem for the other teams behind, like Bahrain if they want anything from the race, Lotto Destiny with Narvaez pinning the descent, for Monique, or Q3 6.5, or Tudor, or Bora for Fabro, and these guys catch up to the breakaway. So Lotto Destiny got a reason, an excuse not to pull because they've got Drisner's caught from the breakaway. And it was sometime before we saw a front moto on that group to see who was actually chasing this group of Narvaez, Finn Fisher Black, Onley working, and it was Tudor. Bennett for Bora Hansgrohe put in a big shift today, actually, him and Mullen, I believe, and Q3 6.5. And you see the doubt creeping in with this group. Looking back, okay, we're at 30 seconds. They're riding full behind. Maybe these guys want to do a lead out themselves or their own GC result, and they don't want to blow up the legs. And they're probably going for Hirschi anyway, UAE, and Ineos are going for Tullett or Bernal. So they pull the pin and they just let themselves get caught. Caleb Ewan on lead-out duties through these technical descents and patchwork quilt of a road surface before they get into the town. It's already a little bit of a pickup, and you see, I think, is it Mullen flicking Fabro, saying, I've brought you up, get on the wheel, the Ineos guys, like move onto the wheel, stop eating the wind, and I'm done here. So it's interesting how the lead-out trains or even the sprinters themselves work today. It was good to see because it's small teams. Everybody's got to pitch in. It's like teams of 5 or 6. Anyway, get to the climb, 7% for about 2.5 kilometers, maybe a little bit easier given the descent in the middle. Hirschi fourth wheel, Tullett third wheel, then it's Poole second wheel. Egan is number 1, about 6 wheels deep with only the other DSM rider, but he's just been in that move behind. So, I mean, he did have a little bit of time to recover after that in the wheels. Voisin for Tudor, and you see how steep it is. See how slow the motor was going. Narvaez tracks that, and then Tullett kicks off. Really strong move with 1,800 meters to go. Hirschi on a little bit of a gap initially winds him back in a bigger gear than Tullett, who's running a bit of a lighter gear. Poole is third wheel. Then it's, I think, Narvaez, fifth wheel, and these two get a decent gap. Now, Poole, I think, is better on the longer climbs. At Thion in Romandy, he was very, very good. I'm not sure the punchy stuff is his bread and butter. Only, I think, is actually quite good on this stuff, and he showed that later after being in the move early. But Tullett, working hard, Hirschi on the wheel, Bernal trying to get across to those guys, and then Hirschi just steps off Tullett after Tullett's been pulling him for 500, 600 meters, can't get back to the wheel. Almost goes sideways at this point. She just kicks on and creates a very, very good gap. There's like it levels off a bit in 300 meters, and so he just Tullett needed to get over this little bit. It's steep here, and you see him nearly crash. He goes to the right hand side. You think he's going to lose 25, 30 seconds. Poole's catching back up to him. She's going on with it. And listen, she came 10th in Liège, and I think he came 4th in Eschborn. He's in good shape. Okay, is he in the shape he was in 2020 when he won Flèche, when he was going to win Liège-Bastogne-Liège? I don't know, probably not. But he's still a good rider, and he's still in good shape. And he was too good for these guys today as Moniquet comes back to Bernal and Onley. Fabro will also reappear. So the guys who paced it steadily, they did their best performance that they could have. I think Moniquet and Fabro did the right thing the way they paced this climb. But here she's gone. You see how it's leveled off. Poole is pulling Tullett behind. That looks like a huge gap, but it will close a lot in the finish. So either Poole pulled very, very strongly and then Tullett sprinted around him, or they just both were, Tullett got his bearings back. But here she was too good, wins the stage. He's going to need some more bonus seconds, though, in later stages because it's very, very tight. Tullett comes back to finish second on 8 seconds. Poole on 10 seconds with Onley and Moniquet just behind. So DSM have got 2 riders to play with in the GC later on, but it's all about Hirschi. He'll need Finn Fisher-Black to probably do a big shift helping him as a domestique because he didn't finish close today, whereas Ineos do have 2 relatively close in Tullett and Egan Bernal. They didn't lose too much time today. So be tricky for UAE to defend. Here's what Marc Hirschi had to say after the stage.
I was super hard. Because we went full gas into it for positioning. And then Ineos started to keep pulling, and then Ben Tullett attacked super early. I could just follow. And then I know when I over the top, I have to go and I have something left. Also, I think when you go there, it's really hard to react also mentally because everybody was on the limit, and then it's just, small difference in the mind make the difference, and it was super hard race.
But I really enjoyed this. They've changed the route up a little bit in Tour de Hungary this year. They've added another GC stage, I would say, compared to just the sort of hilltop finish on Kekostet. Really liked it, and it was great racing today from some familiar names and young ones. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you at stage 4 tomorrow. Ciao.